From a very early age, I was taken to museums, and I understood as I walked round looking at objects, even as a very young person, that I was seeing things, but there was another story to be told. There was another life behind them. How were they made? Not so much how did they arrive. I think I accepted they arrived in museums. That was a very acceptable, understandable concept. We've placed them here for you to see. But looking at those objects and being curious, I think has always stood for me as a point of, these objects are beautiful. They're incredible. And maybe they're not easy to make. Maybe we've learned from others. Maybe those skills have been handed on. Maybe they allow us to continue making. And so the story of making and the incredible history of those people who made are all sitting inside museums like ghosts wanting to tell stories. I'm Clare Twomey and I'm an artist. I trained in the discipline of clay, craft. Clay is at the core of most of my practice, even though it interjects with lots of other practices of whether that's live or ephemeral or participatory. Clay is a knowledge at the core of the work that I make. So I'm an artist that works with clay. For the exhibition at the William Morris Gallery, I'm making a live work that will continually change for 3 months. It's in the gallery space and it consists of the transference of one of William Morris's draft drawings, and that's placed on 130 ceramic tiles that take up the space of 3 meters by 4 meters. With the panel laid down on a large bench, we're painting it from top to bottom in gold, following the hand of William Morris over the 3 months. And there'll be 2 people working at that bench continually for the 3 months. One of those people is a master painter in gold, and they'll be laying down the beautiful gold on top of the William Morris pattern. Next to them will be working an apprentice, somebody from the public for 1 day who will come and learn some of that skill, but also create some of the artwork. The nature of the work that I've created is about process, and it comes from the inspiration of the original drawing in the gallery. But to give that space, to give it air, to give it life, to give it a real sense of being present, then the master painter and the apprentice bring life to that in a very physical manner. So they're present. They're almost coming out of the painting in many ways. And so their practice of laying down skill, us seeing the skill in their hands, gives more voice to the original work. If anybody has the patience to remain for a whole day watching this process, you will see what begins as a nervous enterprise to what we know will become a confident set of actions in the apprentice's hands by the end of the day. So it's really a live process that will be kind of unravelling and being exposed during the 3 months of the exhibition. At the end of the exhibition, the master and apprentices will stop, and then the work will be finished. The tile panel will be gold and everything would have been completed. And at that point, the tiles will be taken away by the owners. So some of the tiles have already been pledged against already. Some people may wish to become owners as the exhibition goes on, but all the tiles will be taken away individually to different parts of the country. And what will remain is the experience that everybody had. So people will own the experience. I'll own the experience as the artist. The masters will own that experience. The apprentices will own their day. So a lot of the exhibition won't be held in physical form. It'll be held in experiential knowledge. And that's amazing. I'm very happy about that. I think that this work has great poignancy and talks very much of our time, talks very much of 2016. And the wonderful things that we can do with industry are placed in front of us in the gallery. 130 tiles that have replicated beautifully this drawing. An almost impossible act in many ways. But we can do this because of the technology. Johnson Tiles, who have made this panel, have this incredible technology to be able to print these colours, to be able to digitally manipulate and recreate this panel to such an exacting standard. It would be difficult to do it without industry. And they are something like the 25th greenest company in the UK. Their technology is pioneering. They've got a 45-minute firing from non-fired work to glazed work, which environmentally probably outruns anything we can do in studio ceramics. So industry is a different place. So we can look at the positive role of industry layered with what we're doing now, which is the laying of this gold by hand on top of it. So we're cementing these two histories together to look at what can we use that's positive, what can we celebrate, what can we keep handing on that is useful. So these two elements existing together and being bonded together in the kiln is just a very exciting moment of now. The work that I previously made at the Eden Project and then went on to the Royal Academy was working with the flower makers in Stoke-on-Trent. Again, it's a skill from industry that flourished, and so many people who maybe weren't interested in studio ceramics or craft had that skill in their hands. We undertook 10,000 flowers at the Eden Project, which were unfired, but made by 20 flower makers, as a way of talking about this skill. And in an amazing 4 weeks, 20 women made 10,000 flowers by hand. So we have a lineage of the skills, how they're passed from one woman onto another woman in the factory or at homes. Those skills aren't laid out in a manual, they're not written down. These skills are handed from one person to another, seeing, looking, learning, failing, succeeding. And so that relationship really ties into the work that I hope the visitor is seeing when they come to the William Morris. This is how we do things, this is how we hand things on. Time is important in the work that I make. A work that I made at the Nelson Atkins Museum, a work called Forever, discussed time in many ways. It was based on a cup that was made in 1720, the Sandbank Cup. And we took that cup and we reinvented it. We made it smaller. We wrote 2010 on it for the exhibition that we were making. And we asked 1,345 people to keep that cup forever. It's the 5th largest museum in America, the Nelson Atkins. And in that environment, we asked people to sign a legally binding document to keep this cup forever. And it set up lots of questions that I couldn't necessarily answer, but became the intrigue or burden for others. What does forever mean? So do you pass it down in your will? Do you have it buried with you in your grave? Do you hand it on? So people left the exhibition after they successfully were awarded their cup, and they now have a cup forever. And in a way, our relationship with time is understanding, do we hand things on? Do we keep them? Do we have a sense of understanding of the cultures we're investing in? Are they forever? And I think all of those things are very relevant to the work of Morris.